So far we've seen that the head's okay, but it's losing pressure on cylinders 1 and 2. So I was a busy boy yesterday, and I've got the engine now on the frame we made last year. There we go, there it is. Yeah, this one's for you, Dave. You see, I haven't forgotten. I got round to getting it done. Well, sort of getting it done. But this gives me an ideal opportunity to take the sump off without taking the rest of it off. Let me have a quick shufty round and I'll show you how it is. You see, I put the transfer case on because the gearbox mounting's on the transfer case, and it's all sort of complete. So what I could do is build this up. If this engine's okay, I can build this up as it is and then just drop it straight in. So that's pretty good. That'll save me a lot of time. But today I'm going to pull the sump off, which I should have decent access to, and then crawl underneath and get these pistons out. Now the bores on this are remarkably good, but they're really shiny. There is a tiny lip at the top, but I think it's just a carbon. I think it might just be okay. Not sure. But anyway, let's get the sump off. Now I've had this with the sump plug out overnight, so it should be draining off quite well. I'll get the sump off and then we'll start to take the pistons out. Yeah, I hope you can see this is a bit of a telltale sign this has been off before. Look at this. This is just silicone. This isn't RTV. So we don't know what we're going to find. So all the bolts are out. I'm going to use my dismantling tool, available in the shop, and let's get this off. We'll do it real time. I'll leave the camera running. Right, here it goes. I don't know where to start on this because it might just fly off completely, I'm not sure. Problem is getting into it, it's the thing, because this. That wasn't very well held on. What we're going to find in here? Like Tomb Raiders. Oh, Raiders of the Lost Ark. As I mentioned to you before, you can never get all the oil out. You know. There's bits in the bottom. Not too bad. I wonder where they came from. So now, what we'll do, we'll get underneath and pull off the bearing caps and knock them up. Now what I'll do first of all, just to make it interesting, I'll crack off the bolts and take the caps off, because I can't go wrong because they're all numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'll set the camera up and we'll pop the pistons through so you, the viewer, can see as they come out. Are the rings broke? Have they put them all in? Are all the gaps in a straight line? Who knows? I took off all the oil pickup pipe and the return. They were well siliconed up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just do 2 pistons at a time, because I can't get the caps off the middle 2 pistons because they're up. But this engine will turn over really easy. It'll be a bit of a mess about. But I'm going to try and pop number 1 and number 4 out first. So I'll rearrange the camera. Here we go. I think that's a good view, don't you? A room with a view. Right. Let's get underneath. Now I'm going to use a hammer shaft to pop them up. Let's start with the back one. That went really, really easy, I'll tell you. I wish I had a light there. Oh, wait a minute, I'm just going to take the bearing shell off. There we go, there's one. Should be out, is it? Should be. Can't see from here. Let's try the front one. Oh, there goes the bearing shell. Right, let's have a look before I turn it over. Right. You can see the diesel. Oh yeah, look. Can you see there? The oil control ring and the second ring is in line. This is not good. The top ring is free. The pistons themselves are a little marked, but not too bad. I'll just be a bit delicate with that. Let's have a look at this one. This is kinda tight. Now this one, if you can remember, was pretty good. The back one. And the rings are stepped correctly, look. There's number 1, 2 and 3 is here, so that was why that was okay. Now I'm just going to put these on my bench. I'll be back in a tick. Look at them up here. So when I'm tapping, I don't knock them off. And I'm also going to arrange the bearing shell, which are worn, to go with it. Whose bearings were these? Oh, these are going to tell a story. Well, I'll come back to that. Right, yo. Let's turn this engine over if we can. Should be able to. Oh, there's that nut I was looking for. There we go. Right, you ready? I'd lost a nut. I think it was just thrown inside the engine compartment. So a minute, get a bit of paper towel because it's dripping water. I don't want to get my hair dirty. Oh, it's diesel off the pistons, isn't it? Right, here we go. So the caps are off. Where's my hammer? Ah, here. Starting with number 3. Oh, there goes the shell. Now number 2. This was the naughty one. Right. I'm going to put a set of shells in this after seeing that first one. Wish you had a padded floor, not a concrete one. Right. I'm keen to see what number 2's like. Normally TDIs don't get a ridge at the top. Well, there's no broken rings. How odd. That's really odd. No broken rings. I expected that to be knackered. And finally, number 3. This wasn't too bad, I seem to remember. Yeah, the rings are spaced pretty evenly. Not too bad. So, let's have a look at the cylinders. Let me put these all together. And we'll come back. We'll turn this off. I'll put the bearing caps back on its relevant place. So this is a mystery, isn't it? The rings seem to be nice and loose. The gaps were a little bit close together in one of them. I'll have to play it back now because this is a lot later. And the bars look good. The bearings have obviously started to wear through. This is on the top of the rod, and I don't know if you can focus into that and see, it's standard and they're AE bearings. That was the original bearings. So I think a set of standard shells, the crank is looking beautiful. It really, really is looking beautiful. But I think what I'll do, just out of interest, I'll mic up the bore. Now this isn't really all that accurate with my tool I've got, but I want to see if that bore is correct. For some reason there seems to be a lip at the top of the cylinder. Now all the TDIs I've done, all the years I've done them, I've always seen honing marks in the cylinders at some point, and I've never seen a lip at the top. So I'm kind of concerned, but what we can do at the bottom of the cylinder, that bit never gets worn. It'll get worn where the rings go, if you see what I mean, but the piston doesn't go right the way into the oil pan or the sump. You know, that'd be daft, wouldn't it? But right at the very bottom of the cylinder, the bore should be standard, so we'll take a measurement and work out if it's loose or not. I know it's a bit rough, but what else can I do? Well, what's the conclusion? With my measuring stick, which not is wholly accurate, but it gives us a feel to see what the bores are like, I think the bores are good. Well, should I say good? They're within tolerance for standard, just by a fraction going off the book, so we could re-ring them. I'll come back onto that in a minute, because I was just looking at these. There's the big end shells. They've gone through to the copper, so all I need is a set of shells. The crank is beautiful, it's perfect, there's not a score or mark on it. It's a really good crank. I'll just give it a quick check. I couldn't show you really because it was underneath, it was really hard to get to, but the crank is good, and they usually are on a 300 TDI, but how did I strike lucky on rings? Many years ago I mistakenly wanted a set of rings, and I ended up buying a brand new set of what are they called? Kloben Schmidt rings, and today's the day we get to use them because they fit great. And I think this is our problem. Let me put my tools away and we'll have a look. This is a new piston ring inside the bore. You can see here the joint is very nice and tight. Alright? Now this one here, see the gap there? Drive bloody bus through that, man. That's the original ring that was in number 2 cylinder. So it just goes to show you that that was the problem. I know these are at the top, but they are kind of parallel all the way through. Now, obviously you can see the crank pins down there. They're absolutely beautiful, look. I'm thinking of, there's a slight lip. I think it's just carbon. So I'm going to glaze bust these with my little bally tool, and I think we'll just fit a set of rings in, and I think it'll be job. Because I mean, how on earth is oil going to get past those? Now the other thing we've got to check also is the gap in the piston. Let me take a piston. Now this isn't a very good test because the piston rings for the top ring have got a taper on them. That means they're wider on the outside here than the inside. How do you know that? We put a piston ring in and it won't go in. It won't go in the gap. There's nothing wrong with it. because it is, yeah, you can see it's just as say gone in. It won't go all the way in because there's a slight taper, but you can see the carbon behind the ring. That's not good, is it? So I think we'll clean up these pistons and put a set of new rings on, new set of bearings, and it will be a bargain basement rebuild sort of thing. I'm going to have a look at the head on the next video, but yeah, I'm quite surprised. I was quite surprised what they were like. I must admit, I'm going to have another look at the video, but now putting the rings in, I think that was its problem. The rings have just got worn out. Oh well. But, wait, just hold on. That doesn't explain why the cylinder head was marked. You know where just around the glow plugs it looked all melted? But you would have thought these would have got melty too. They're not. Something's awful mystery. Not unless that head's off a different vehicle. Who knows? Anyway, we'll see you in the next video. Well, we'll put it all back together again.